Three strikes and still beating. I am AK Thiagaraj. So, I made it again. I had heart valve replacement surgery. And while they were in there, the surgeons decided to throw in a bonus double bypass. You know, like when you take your car in to get a valve replaced, and they say, hey, since we're opening the engine anyway, we might as well fix the fuel intake pipes too. Except this was my heart. It's been a few weeks, and yeah, I'm still here, still breathing, still sore, still wondering what just happened. Not just because I feel strong, not because I have answers, but telling my story and how it's impacted me is still the only thing that feels like mine. Before I get back to the story, I want to say something about the people who carried me through this: the medical staff, the nurses, techs, therapists, doctors, the ones who showed up every shift, not just with meds and vitals, but with humanity. I could give you three or four stories, but I'll share just one. It was day two or three after surgery, around 4 a.m., some ungodly hour. A lab tech came in to draw blood. I was in so much pain and so drugged, I couldn't even open my eyes. She told me softly that she was going to draw my blood. She did. And then, before she walked away, she said, you are going to be okay. I am praying for you. I didn't have the strength to say thank you, but I had tears in my eyes. Maybe it was the meds. Maybe it was the fact that a stranger was praying for me. Or maybe it was the realization that I had never thought about praying for a stranger. I also want to acknowledge my management and my company. You took away any stress related to my job so I could just focus on healing. Not just this time, but every time. Through each one of my three strikes, I have been lucky enough to work for great companies with supportive leadership. People who understand that health comes first, that grace matters, that recovery can't happen under pressure. Honestly, maybe they were just relieved I went on medical leave and boosted team productivity. I am pretty sure the stock price went up every time I was out. And then there is my family, my wife, my daughters, the ones who were in it every day. They did the heavy lifting, not just physically, but emotionally. They saw things no one else did, held the fear, sat with the silence. They took care of me, got me back on my feet, literally and figuratively. My sister flew in to be with us during the surgery just to provide moral support. My parents, both bypass survivors themselves, now in their 70s and 80s, worried sick that the son was now going through the same thing they did. And around them, a wider circle: friends, extended family who checked in, called, dropped by, even short visits or quick messages mattered more than they will ever know. The truth is, I didn't do this alone. I survived it, but they all carried something too. There were moments when I was buoyed by all the love and support. I'd think to myself, wow, so many people care about me. But then, sometimes in the very next breath, I would sink into this deep despair, this feeling that I was completely alone, that no one could really understand what I was going through. Then, even surrounded by care, I was just carrying something wordless, something I could only feel. Back to the story. In the last episode, I talked about cardio rehab, the treadmills, the telemetry, the awkward stares from people older and somehow stronger than me. But cardio rehab wasn't the only rehab I was doing. While my body was trying to recover, my brain was quietly spiraling. Because right in the middle of all this, while I was limping my way through rehab, still sore, still breathless, I was also trying to decide whether to restart my job search. Even before my heart attack, I was already looking for a new job. More money, more growth, you know the drill. But now, post heart attack, I found myself in this weird limbo. One part of me was like, come on, man, push through. You survived. Get back in the game. Land that new job. The other part of me was like, bro, maybe just course. Collect that paycheck. Don't rock the boat. You literally just got your heart replumbed. It was like having those two angels on my shoulders whispering advice. But every now and then, they'd both turn into devils and start fighting. One is yelling, rise and grind. The other's yelling, lie down and heal, dumbass. And I'm just sitting there in the middle, icing my chest, popping blood thinners and blood pressure meds, and wondering if I'm supposed to open LinkedIn or take a nap. I also wanted to improve my confidence in public speaking, so I decided to join an improv class. Since I didn't want to go alone, I dragged my poor wife with me. She really didn't have a choice. I think she was scared that if she said no, I might have another heart attack. Did improv make me feel better? I don't know, but I needed something. I needed to distract myself, give my brain something to grapple with so it didn't have to sit with reality. Improv was stressful in its own way. Not sure if I needed the extra stress. But hey, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Not only did we finish the beginner course, we even enrolled in the intermediate one. At the end, there was a big show for friends and family. My wife and I were on stage with our classmates. My daughters and my mother in law came to watch. I was nervous at first, but then I got into a rhythm. And I thought, maybe I even dazzled. Hey, let me have that. So while I was juggling cardio rehab and improv, I also started traveling for work. And yep, decided to resume my job search. Now that I'm thinking about it, how the hell did I do all this right after my heart attack? Kind of proud of myself. Was I telling the world I was back? Or was I telling myself? Either way, it worked. You won't believe this, but a hiring director connected with me on LinkedIn. One thing led to another, and after multiple interviews and false starts, I got the job. I remember doing one interview in Toronto while traveling for work. I had to run an enablement session for the sales team the next day. Was I nuts? Yes, I was nuts. Once I got the job, I let my current management know. They were happy for me, or maybe just relieved they didn't have to fire me. My manager even let me take a little vacation before starting the new job. Just some great managers I've had in my career. This was the same manager I called from the operating table to tell her that I was having a heart attack. How could she not like me? It was easily the most dramatic out of office notification she got in her long and illustrious career. I joined the new job the first week of December, right after Thanksgiving break. New job, same old damaged heart. I want to thank all the listeners who have rated and reviewed this show. It is all positive and warms my heart. But if you could spread the word, it will help the right people find it. And honestly, it will help me keep going too. Beaten by life, still beating.